And welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the TV show. I'm Jay Black, joined as always by Rhea Hughes and author of the new book, Loud, Angelo Cataldi, everybody. You go to angelocataldi.com to pick up those hardcovers. It's the only place you can get a hardcover now is if you go to a bookstore or Angelo's website. Got to grab that book, everybody.
But you could get a paperback for less. If you go to Amazon right now, you could order the paperback and have that within 24, 48 hours.
The paperback is officially out as of yesterday, right?
Yes, it was released as a paperback yesterday because they pretty much run out of the hardcover, which is not, once again, let me state, it is not because I am killing it like Mitch Albom, is because the publisher had very little faith in my ability to write a book.
Ridiculous.
You should have done Tuesdays with Al. You should have named it.
Yes, you're right.
Before we get started today, I just want to do two bits of late breaking news. The first one is SAG AFTRA ratified their contract last night. Yep. So the two major strikes that have been plaguing movies and TV are now over for the next 3 years. I also wanted to say, too, that Norman Lear, 101-year-old Norman Lear passed away today. If there's any singular person more responsible for great TV in the 70s, I can't think of anybody else than Norman Lear. Lived a very full life, and sorry to see him go. But 101, you can't ask for more than 101.
You didn't die suddenly, Jay.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, Jay. He was still working at 100.
Yeah.
He was.
Made me feel, having retired at 71, to be a total wimp. All right. That guy worked 30 more years. God bless him, man. What a great, great comedic mind. Great.
Absolutely. So I wanted to jump in today with some news that we all should have seen coming. But Apple TV and Paramount have announced that, well, they haven't announced. There's an article in Fortune that they might be bundling their two services to compete with the fact that Netflix and HBO Max are now bundling. If you get a Verizon phone, you can get a bundle from them. And, it's a way to save money. It's a way to get the streaming services. But let me ask you this, guys. Isn't this just cable with more steps? Have they just rediscovered cable? Rhea, you just cut the cord. Tell me about your feelings on this.
I did. So I finally did it on, I guess it was on Friday. I cut the cord with cable. No, Saturday. I had to get a new iPhone because mine was completely falling apart. And it was about 6 or 7 years old. And so I'm an AT&T customer. So I went to the store. They offered me a bundle with DirecTV streaming that cut my cost of my phone down from $700 to $329, and then I got the DirecTV streaming, which has 3, 6, 10, Fox 29, all the local channels for $100, and that includes up to 3 households. So I get to include my shore house. So literally within 2.5 hours on Saturday, I went from a cable bill that was over $500 because you always forget that you're renting the cable boxes for $10 a month. So that's $60 a month, $260 extra. So I mean, I literally am saving almost $300 a month by cutting the cord. So, and my next thing is to go through all of the streamers because you guys know it. I watch Acorn and BritBox on Prime. So I'm keeping Prime. I love Hulu and I love Netflix. The rest of them, I don't really watch anything on. So there's no reason for me to have them except to occasionally, when they allow you, buy it a la carte to watch what I want to watch. Otherwise, I'm getting rid of all the other streamers.
Yeah. Jay, I tried to do this in the summer and I lost faith in myself. The minute I started the process, I started to fear what I was going to miss, right? There's two things that make me worried about cord cutting. One is, what am I going to miss? And the other is, oh no, now I have to learn all new numbers from my favorite stations. And I'm just... But Rhea, I have to do this. You and I have to sit down and you have to show me how to cut the cord.
And it comes up ABC, Fox 29, CBS, NBC 10. Now, what I am keeping with Xfinity is the Wi-Fi because they do have the best Wi-Fi. I will say that I've used other ones AT&T supposedly is coming out with a $35 a month Wi-Fi, but they're not sure it's available in my 2 areas yet. So I think that I'm going to be able to still watch the Phillies because I have the Xfinity Stream Wi-Fi. So we'll find out that.
But you don't have NBC Sports Philadelphia.
I don't, because DirecTV and NBC Sports Philadelphia haven't been able to reach an agreement yet. But on Direct Stream, Ange, I have the NBA League Pass. I have MLB. So I have those, so I can still watch them. If it's a problem with watching Phillies games, I can get Sling TV for $35 a month. Right. So it's still cheaper than the cable.
Jay, I'm still worried. I'm not sure I can do it. What if I miss out on one of your Lifetime films?
That's, you know what? That's the number one listed reason why people keep cable, so they can see one of my movies every 8 months.
There you go.
I just say this. I feel like for as much as we all complained about cable, and I've said this before, that is a single box that sits on your TV that has everything. As overpriced as it might be, did we stumble on the ideal way of watching television 20 years ago, complain about it for 20 years, try to replace it, and wind up with something worse? Because that's what it kind of feels like to me.
All right, but are you saying streaming is failing?
Yes.
Is that your premise?
I think that it is. I think that there's one universally successful streamer, that is Netflix. And I think everything else is in various states of failure. Disney Plus is not going to fail because Disney has too much money. But Paramount and Peacock, I don't think either of them are going to be here, at least in their current form, 1 year from today. I think that Apple TV Plus is going to be there because Apple has infinite money and they're trying to do it. But they're not making money on Apple TV Plus, not with the money that they're putting out. Each of their shows cost $100 million. They have 20 million subscribers at $7.99 a month. So it's going to disappear. It's not going to do well, at least in its current form. I think that streaming on the whole has been a failure, with the possible exception of Netflix.
All right, Jay, you got to get rid of one. What do you get rid of?
Probably Peacock, I think, is the one that I watch the least.
Same here. Rhea, what do you get rid of?
I'm getting rid of Peacock. See, I'm not getting rid of Disney because I have a friend who works for Disney and I have their passcode. So I don't have to get rid of it. And I'm not giving you my friend's name. So I have Discovery TV because you guys know I do love HD TV. I love all that. And I like being able to watch what I want. But I'm going to look and see are the shows. So it's definitely, I'm keeping Netflix, Amazon, Hulu, and Apple. Those are the 4 that I have to have. All the rest of them I can get rid of.
And Jay,
well, only somebody could.
You and I now should announce that we're not giving up Disney either, because soon we will have the passcode.
Yeah, is your friend's initials BI? Is it Mr. Bob Iger?
Hey, I got to talk to you after the show.
and really, the Disney Plus is only for Clark. I mean, honestly, he's the only one who watches it. So I don't know.
The one thing that streamers do well that no other technology has been able to do, with the possible exception of maybe DVDs back in the day, the one thing that it does allow is binging. And Angelo, you had a book you were talking about.
I have a book here. It's very academic. I'm not sure it's like super mainstream, but I met the author, whose name is Emil Steiner. He is a professor at Rowan University. I believe this is the first book on binge television. And it made me think a lot about how differently I watch TV now than I did even 5 years ago. So I'm going to start with the 3 rules on how to determine whether you should binge a show. Now, other than the fact they're offering it, all right?
This is from the book, Angelo.
This is from me. I'm ignoring the book. I prefer my own expertise, although Emil is great. All right, here we go. Number 1, there is no binging on an old show until at least 10 years have elapsed. Do not attempt to binge a show, because even an old man like me with a faulty memory can remember some of the storylines. But Rhea, after a decade or so, other things take over your brain, and then it's fresh again. 10-year minimum. You with me so far, Jack?
Yes.
Second, the binge show should have a continuing storyline. It should go from episode to episode. The episodic stuff where they close it out after each episode. No, it's a bad binge because it's too much work starting every story fresh from the first scene. So it's got to be something with a continuing storyline. And if I am not hooked on the binge within 2 episodes, I'm out. That's why it's worked for you right now. West Wing, phenomenal binge, great binge. Parks and Recreation, can't do it. Doesn't stick for me. I tried 3 times, Jack. It won't work for me. So The Fugitive, my favorite show as a kid.
Yeah.
Not bingeable. Bad show to binge. Every episode was its own entity. Don't do it.
Which is how they did it back in the day.
Now, I want to know what you guys do here.
I'd like to add one more rule to this, and this might be a controversial rule. I think you need to have layered and likable characters. And here's what I mean. If they're one-note characters, or if they're characters that are annoying, and that I think back in the day, if you were watching a TV show and you watched it once a week and you didn't see it any other time, you could have a character that was annoying or grating, and in small doses, you enjoyed them. But if you see that person again and again and again, and here's what I'd say. Do people do they binge Curb Your Enthusiasm? And could you put up with Larry David for 4 hours at a clip?
Probably not. You're right. I've never tried Curb, but you're right. I think
as much as you love Larry.
Rhea, what about you? What do you do?
So I remember the first show I actually did binge on, and it was Bosch. It was the very first thing I ever did on a streamer. It was on Prime. I'm a Michael Connelly fan. I've read like all 30 of his books that he's ever written. I'm a massive fan, and I loved it. And Jay, it was exactly what you said. It was layered. I loved Titus Welliver as the main character. I read all those books, and it was amazing that's how I imagined Harry Bosch, the lead character, to be. They've now splintered off into Bosch Legacy, which features a lot more of his daughter. And I don't like it as much. I just don't think she's as compelling as, Titus had all the warts. He was, Harry Bosch, older. But I mean, I literally hours I spent watching the first season, the 8 episodes. So that was a show I absolutely love. A show that, and it's 8 years. So it's kind of within range of your 10 years. I had never watched Superstore when it was on network TV. It's 7 or 8 seasons. It's phenomenal. All the characters, there's overlapping, things that go on for it's got like 8 different characters. I love the first time I saw it. I think I binged the first 4 seasons in a weekend. That's how much I loved it. And plus Clark loves it. It's one of those shows we put on when we're watching TV. And the other show that I binged, but I don't know how much it counts sometimes with British shows, although they're longer. Manhunt. That was 2 seasons, but they're only 4 episodes, but they are longer than regular things just because the story was so amazingly engrossing that I had to binge it. But those are the ones that I like, that I think encompass everything of what you guys both said, that storylines carry through. They're not just single episodes.
Yeah. Right. One other thing, just so we're clear on this. If you never saw the show, you could binge it anytime. These are shows I've already seen, but can no longer remember. Even great. I don't retain them past 10 years. I retain water for longer than the 10 years.
Yes, you do.
But there were 10 years, and then it seems like, you know what, though? Man, I can't believe there was a time when we couldn't binge. And that's why you're wrong about streaming, Jay, because streaming has given us the binge, and the binge is awesome.
The binge is awesome. I just think that if we could just get all of our stuff together in one place again, we'd all be happier. If I could just, I don't want to know what service.
No, see, you're wrong. You're just lazy.
That's true.
This has nothing to do with streaming is bad. You were just lazy.
You know what, Rhea? I prefer the term American instead of lazy. I'm an American. I shouldn't have to work for my entertainment. So Rhea does not have a teen segment this week, but I'm going to do a teen segment for mine because it goes in with binging. I'm currently binging Bob's Burgers with my whole family. It's an animated show. I know you don't like animated, Angelo, but my youngest daughter has finally stopped watching the middle, and she has switched over. And believe me, the bells are ringing in my house because she'll watch the same episode 38 times. I've seen every episode of the middle 38 times. She's finally switched to Bob's Burgers, and I am rewatching the show for the first time in years. And everyone, my teen son, my soon-to-be teenage daughter, my 8-year-old, my wife, and I are all watching it. It is a very sweet show, undercut with a lot of acidic flavor.
I love that.
In the material. It is not overly saccharine. It is a show that will be funny in darker ways than you'd expect, but always with a sweet overtone. And I can't suggest it highly enough. Bob's Burgers, you can get it on Hulu. It runs on Fox. They're still making new episodes. And H. John Benjamin and Kathy Shaw. Is that her name? Kristen Shaw? Kristen Shaw are two of the voice talents. It's just so good. So I highly suggest Bob's Burgers if you want to laugh, Angelo. And I know you like to laugh.
I like to laugh, especially watching the stand-up of Mr. J. Black.
But what do you got for us this weekend, British TV, Rhea?
So I am super excited. I saw this when I was flipping around. You know I love Slow Horses, which is a show on Apple TV with Gary Oldman. Season 3 has dropped. This is simply the funniest, I don't want to say funny, but the smartest, most interesting spy thriller series that I've watched in forever. It stars Gary Oldman, as you know, from he's been in everything. Gary Oldman is in it. He's so great. So it started last week. So basically what Slow Horses is, it's a group of MI5 agents, which is like CIA here in the States, who are so bad at their job, they've been confined to this house called Slow House, where they're basically paper pushers. But in the first 2 seasons, they wound up in international incidents and they're solving the cases. And the same is true. You keep thinking season 1 was phenomenal. Season 2 was really good, not as good as season 1. So I thought maybe season 3 may be better than season 1 and 2. It opens with a woman who's giving away some sensitive secrets. You know she's going to die. I'm not giving anything away. But Slow Horses gets involved and their administrative assistant gets kidnapped. And so Jackson Lamb, that's who Gary Oldman plays. He's the first scene of him in this, when he kind of gets word that his assistant has been kidnapped as part of this international problem. He's in a doctor's office getting his yearly physical. This man smokes incessantly. He drinks all the time. He farts like crazy. He's a great character. And the doctor says to him, have you quit smoking? He goes, yes, I did. And he goes, for how long? And he goes, well, I was in your waiting room for about 25 minutes. So that's how long I quit. But it's the acting between him, Jack Lowden is River Cartwright. He's kind of like the younger version, whip smart, of Jackson Lamb. He's great in it. Kristen Scott Thomas plays the slimy head of MI5. He's phenomenal in a bad guy role. It's just so good. This is, my brother and I do not share really any shows we watch together. As soon as I told him it was back on, he couldn't wait to watch it. Season 3, episode 3 drops today. So this is one where they gave you the first 2, but you had to wait. So I think they're going to do it weekly. So I literally cannot wait until tonight to watch episode 3.
Rhea, I got to say something here. Do you realize if you went out there looking for a guy, let's say on a dating app, who cursed all the time, who smoked incessantly and couldn't stop farting, there'd be a lot of people who would be qualified for that.
Yes.
You would not be excluding a lot of guys.
No, I'm telling you, he is so obnoxiously awful, but such a great character. Angelo, you would love him. Right. And I will tell you this, absolutely put the closed captioning on because his accent is very thick.
Wow. Cool. Gotcha. Nice.
So before we go to Angelo's pick for the week, I just want to say about an email that I got from him asking about whether or not he could talk about the scene that he's going to talk about in this. And
Angelo asked permission.
well, I think he was, if I could get clear, you were asking whether or not we could say it on the podcast, right, Angelo? Is that what you were saying?
Correct.
Anyway, the long and short of it is the out of context email that he sent was, okay, thanks. Be sure you watch it just for the penis, Jay. And I just want to say, if my wife happens to go through my email, that, you know, Angelo sent that to me. I wasn't asking for it. It was an unsolicited watch it for the penis, Jay. This not a normal conversation I'm having with Angelo. Now, with that intro being said, Angelo, what do you got for us this week?
All right. I highly recommend this movie. It is called
Of course you do.
May December. But not because of the setup Jay just did. He ruined the fact that it's a terrific movie. I've always been interested in the story of the teacher, Mary Kay Letourneau, and the fact that in 7th grade, she slept with one of her students, Billy Fualua, something like that. I'm not sure of his name. Anyway, they've done a fictional movie on this, mainstream as mainstream can go.
Wow.
Natalie Portman, Julianne Moore, and a breakout new star named Charles Melton. They are fantastic in this story. And the story is about basically Natalie Portman's character is researching a movie about this. And so Julianne Moore is Mary Kay Letourneau, although they have fictional names. And basically she hangs around the family for a week and gets to know them better. And in one of the big moments in the movie, I will not say who was involved, but there is an intense sex scene. And remember, this is super mainstream. And I'm watching this with my wife. And all of a sudden, at the very end of the sex scene, the man gets up and you can see an erect penis.
Oh, my God.
Now, I immediately went to the internet, and there is widespread speculation that it was a prosthetic. But either way, this is new ground for a movie.
I have a very important question to ask you.
Yes.
Did you hit pause?
Here's what. So my wife missed it. My wife is not a penis enthusiast. And I said, should I go back? And she said, no.
No.
And I said, you don't understand, honey. I'm a cinephile. And that means like a movie buff, right? Yes. And she said, cinephile? Is that another word for pervert? She's yelling in the background. All right, Jay, you did the research here. Could you give me your take on what you witnessed?
Number one, I would say do not watch erect penises on large screen television. It will only serve to make you feel bad. Watch it on your iPhone so you can say, look at this guy. Nothing. Number two, Angelo, I did do research on this. Variety says there was a prosthetic involved.
Okay.
Which makes sense because Charles Melton, who, by the way, is too good looking. I'm looking at a picture of him right now. Too good looking of a guy. But number two, he had to shoot the scene for 9 hours. And it's hard to keep an erection.
Well, you know what they say, after 4 hours, you got to go to the hospital.
Got to go to the hospital. The only way you could possibly do it for 9 hours, I think, is B16. I think is the only way.
Don't tell me.
The final scene, he's actually at the hospital talking to the... No, but we're missing the point.
Yeah.
It's a really good movie. I think I like the movie. The performances in it are fantastic.
And I will say the scene in this, it is a great movie. I did go check it out because of Angelo's suggestion. The scene in this movie is important to the movie. And I know Gen Z has a real problem with sex scenes. This is an ongoing issue. They don't like sex scenes. I just watched Sea of Love, which is an old Al Pacino movie.
Love that movie.
It's a great movie.
With Alan Barkin. It made $115 million in 1989 money.
Wow.
And it's a cop thriller. It's a sex cop thriller from 89. The world was a different place 40 years ago. It really was. But the long and short of it is the sex in that movie moved the characters along in a way that adults can understand the power that sex has on a relationship. And I think the same thing is true here. And I just want to say, Gen Z, it's okay to have sex sometimes, Gen Z. It's all right. You can do it from time to time. Relax.
And occasionally even show the penis.
Yeah, and you know that is kind of groundbreaking. I will say the one thing you notice about Sea of Love is Ellen Barkin naked a lot, Al Pacino not so much. So it is nice to see
Ellen Barkin. Wow, very
Ellen Barkin. Even now, she's an attractive woman, Ellen Barkin. Yeah. Anyway, we don't want to get close. I want to finish out with just one last thing. There is a documentary, and I'm using the term loosely. It's a video essay. Angelo and Rhea, you will never watch it. You don't need to watch it. It is 4 hours long. It's on YouTube. It's H. Bomber Guy's video essay on plagiarism. And it is astoundingly good in the format that it's in. If you like video essays, if you like long discussions about not just what the different versions of plagiarism is, but how it harms authors and the waves that are sort of radiating out from this. There's YouTube is self-policing plagiarists in a way that they haven't before because of this video. It's a different kind of pick, but if you go to YouTube, look up H Bomber Guy and watch his video essay on plagiarism. It is a really interesting deep dive into the subject. So that is my suggestion.
That's interesting. I might actually check it out. Whenever you say I won't like something, I want to challenge you and see it and say, I love the Jay, you're wrong.
I hope that you do check it out. Although I do get the sense you're going to get a half hour in and call me up and go, Jay, you're ridiculous. Why would you spend 4 hours watching this? I loved it.
All right. Anyway, let me give you what we got today. West Wing, I am highly recommending in that binge thing we were talking. That's currently available on Hulu. Bob's Burgers, which Jay is recommending, is also on Hulu. Slow Horses is on Apple TV. Check it out. Rhea really likes it. The guy sounds like one of us, Jay. May December is on Netflix. It just dropped a couple of days ago. I didn't mention this before, but I got to say now. The Curse, Showtime, Paramount Plus, it in my rankings has moved to be the single worst show I've ever seen on TV. Rhea, it just edged past My Mother the Car.
Oh my God.
This show is so bad. Emma Stone lost a bet somewhere.
Do you keep watching it? Are you still watching it?
No, I'm watching it now like you would if you rode past a car accident. And finally, H Bomber Guy documentary on YouTube.
Absolutely, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Special thanks to Jared Clapper, our intrepid producer. Rhea, Angelo, thanks much. Go to angelocatani.com and buy it loud. Why haven't you bought it yet? Buy it immediately. You can get a hardback there, or the paperback is available on Amazon.com. And we will be back next week with more TV goodness. Thanks, guys.